In just one moment, and I'll let you know. We are now live.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 3:07. It looks like we're still missing a few members, but if they come, Yolanda, you'll tell us and you can let them in,
Okay.
which
Oh,
means,
John is actually just showing up.
okay. Because I was going to say, John, it's you and the Mike show today then.
We can handle it. Right, John?
There he is.
There he is. Can you hear us, John?
Looks like he's still connecting.
Can you hear us, John? Can't hear you.
Looks like he's having trouble connecting to audio.
I thought everybody down in Grafton got great internet reception.
I'm in the office today upstairs here. Yolanda kindly supplied me with my computer. So I'm just getting caught up.
Yeah, I would usually be there, but I'm on the tin can and string internet out here in Centerton.
You know, buyer beware, eh? Buyer beware.
Yeah. When I get Starlink from Mr. Musk, I'll be happy.
Well, I've got starlings all over my front lawn. Oh, that's not what you meant, is it, Greg?
No.
Yeah, it's a little bird with a white beak, multicolored.
Has John disappeared, Yolanda?
Yeah, it does look that way. He's probably trying to reconnect.
Okay, so why don't we start and then he can join?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start the meeting at 3:10 and call to order at 3:10, and we'll go to the approval of the agenda as circulated. Can I have a mover, please? Mike, and then John. And all in favor? Passed, okay. And then, and you'll have to forgive me, Yolanda, because I'm reading from another screen too, so, and then we have the approval of the minutes of February the 16th, the Grafton Communal Water Committee meeting. Be it resolved that the minutes of February the 16th, 2022, Grafton Communal Water Committee meeting be approved. Can I have a mover, please? John R. and seconded by Mike. All in favor? Passed. Number 5, business arising from the previous minutes. Is there anybody that has any business arising from those minutes on February the 16th? Mr. Troy Gilmore?
Yes, I'll just update the committee on, I was supposed to reach out to the county to see if they would, help us with the cost of getting the well tested on the property, and they are not. So they will not help us financially with that. However, they did say that they would happily provide us access to the well whenever we want, and so on and so forth. But financially, they will not assist us. So that's all I needed to update the committee on.
Not good news, but oh well. Any comment on that, Bruce, or?
I'm not surprised that they haven't put their hand up for the costs there. We've been living with that one for a bit. It's not urgent. It's just kind of out there. I think we can, deal with it at a later date. We just keep pushing it down the road, and I think we can do that again.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. We'll go to number 6, financial reports. Be it resolved that the budget to actuals to March 31st, 2022 be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please, to bring it onto the floor? Mike, seconded by John. Nicole, do you want to make any comments on that, or?
The only comment I really have on it is that I've actually just it's come to my attention that the 2022 financials that I've been sending out to management as well as to this water committee is that when the 2022 was produced, it was still bringing in some information from December of 2021. So I still have to verify that those are 100% accurate. So if those numbers change, I'll be presenting another set at the next meeting.
Okay.
And I can actually send an email out to the group if there is any revisions to it.
Okay, thank you. Yolanda, I see John is trying to connect again. Do you hear us, John? No. We'll keep going. You hear us, John?
I think he's having trouble with his audio still. He
Thumbs
might have
up.
to call in.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can hear that, but if he calls in, we can hear him.
you might as well carry on, Greg. Yolanda will bring him in when she
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah. So does anybody have any other questions about the budget to actual report? Otherwise, we made a motion to receive and file. All in favor? Okay, passed, Yolanda. And now we're at 17.9, the technical memorandum from Bruce. Be it resolved that the technical memorandum for Bruce High Camp Geo Camp Limited dated April the 14th, 2022, re-permit to take water monitoring program budget update for 2022 be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please? John, you'll move it. Seconder, Mike. It's all your show, Bruce.
Okay, the last meeting, there was a request that I forward a budget for the monitoring program. And this is in regard to the permit to take water. So I think everybody knows there's the monitoring conditions associated with the permit to take water. And it's to make sure that the water levels don't decline, de-water the aquifer, and the wells do not capture leachate from the landfill. And the program includes visiting about 4 times a year, about 20 wells, a collection of annual samples from the monitoring wells along Edwardson Road there. And the preparation of an annual report, and it's sent to the MOE and the drinking water inspector. We've had last couple of years, we've had some big issues, the elevated ammonia at PW1, that was always ongoing. And in that study, we determined that there was drawdown observed in the one landfill monitoring well. We've resolved that problem, and we have the BTEX detection, which has increased our monitoring. So in view of the BTEX that we found at one of the monitoring wells and the drawdown at the landfill, one of the monitoring wells there, we deployed about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 water level data loggers in and around the area, the deep wells and all that stuff, just to monitor aquifer water levels a little closer. They're set to record every hour, and I usually download them once a year around December. So my program, the old budget was roughly $5,400, and that was last updated in 2013. There's been some increases because of the data logger expenses. We've now increased sampling to quarterly, and fees and expenses have gone up. So for 2022, I guess I got my report here. The yellow is the old highlighted budget, you know, what was costing for $5,400. This year, I think it'll be around 14,474 with the quarterly samples. And should the toluene issue fade away, it'll reduce the number of samples that we have to do. And that'll reduce down, like, let's say 2023, things return to normal. The budget would be 9,367. So that was just a summary of the old budget, 2022 and 2023 budgets for the monitoring program. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll just
Comments?
ask,
Yeah,
if you can, so we had a non-detect of the toluene for March.
that's right. Yeah, we
Which
had
is-
finally some good news. I guess in the past, 2 years, and I forget how many samples that was in my other menu or our technical memo. So I see it is if we get 3 more consecutive non-detect, then we'll resort back to the or it's just not increasing after this year. If it's just holding, in very, very low concentrations, I think we can go back to just annual samples.
Okay, and I guess my other question was, Bruce, the last sample that was done in 2021, would that have been in December? Was there any detection then still in December, or?
That was actually, believe it or not, the worst sample we had in December 2021. We had not only just BTEX, we had tetrachloroethylene, or what was it? It was a dry cleaning solvent. And we sampled it again this round, and we didn't find anything. So the December 2021 was the worst sampling event we had. And now 3 months later, we've got the best sampling event we ever had.
Well, we can take the good news. That's good.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the good news and run with it.
Any other questions for Bruce about the report?
I think John has something, but his audio is not on.
We still can't hear you, John.
He's talking to Yolanda.
Sorry, Councillor Booth. I'm actually on the phone with Mr. Logel. He is having audio issues with the Zoom connection, so he's called me directly. And
Okay.
we're trying to sort it out, aren't we, John? Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay, all right, we're gonna keep going. He says he can hear everything that's going on. He just can't speak. But we're trying to remedy that at the moment.
Boy, that's a blessing, isn't it? Hey, John, we got you locked up there. We can't hear you.
Maybe you can give a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Finally got you under control, John.
Okay, so we had made the motion to receive and file. All in favor of receiving and filing that report from Bruce? Passed. And then we have 2021, the draft water budget. I'm not sure if Nicole wants to present that, or if everybody had a chance just to take a look at it. Is Nicole still there? Or is she gone?
I think we just lost her.
Yeah, just,
In the fog.
Is there any questions from the documents there for the budget? It shows the 2020, the 2020 actuals, the 2021 budget, 2021 actuals, and the 2022 budget. I didn't see anything myself that stood out, but it's still kind of early.
I would agree with you, Councillor Booth. I looked at it and didn't see anything untoward.
And I guess so what I guess we can do then, Yolanda, is we'll receive and file it for now, and then
There she
I'm
is.
sure,
She just needs to tip her computer down a bit.
or is that John?
oh, that's John.
Oh, that's John. Okay.
Oh, Nicole, yeah, she must have jumped off.
She just said she froze and it kicked her out.
Oh,
Okay, well, what I would suggest is we can look that over. I'm sure Nicole is going to be giving us a update in June, because we'll be almost halfway through, right, of the year of how the budget is going. And then we can look it over as a committee and see if there's any outstanding issues or anything. So could I have a mover to receive and file the 2022 draft water budget? Mike, second. John, all in favor? Okay, so we'll receive and file that, Yolanda. And the next one is the notice of motion by John. And I guess we'll have to talk to Yolanda what she's going to do. I don't know whether I can read it out or what, or. I'm the guy out in Centerton with no internet, and I'm doing fine, and everybody in Grafton's all mixed up.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with John. He is gonna try another device. Sorry, was there questions about the water budget that you were talking about?
No, what we decided, Yolanda, is we all looked it over, and we made a motion to receive and file for now. And we know that Nicole in the June meeting will give us an update, because we'll be halfway through, and then committee members can view it and then probably have some questions, further questions. Everything looks okay for now.
Okay, was there more information to be added to the budget?
not that I could see.
And John did mention to me on the phone that line 40, I don't know, line 4,500 or something on the budget. I'm not sure. He's gonna have to definitely talk about that when he is connected, but he was trying to tell me some information about the budget, so I'll let him talk to that when he is back on.
Okay, when it comes on under new business, John can bring it up,
Right.
because we received and filed it, but we can always,
Okay.
if there's any issues with the budget, we can discuss it, no problem.
Okay,
What do you want to do, Yolanda, with number 7 right now, the notice of motion? Because does John read it out, or do I read it out, or what?
yeah,
Or-
John would have to read that out. He's made that motion, so you could maybe skip over that part for now until John can get on, because we do have to have that discussion as per his motion, so
Let's
Okay.
defer that. Can we defer that, Yolanda, till the next meeting?
we possibly can, but because we're still in the meeting, maybe we can come back to that item when John is connected,
Okay.
okay?
If not, we can defer.
Yeah, okay, let's go to number 8. Be it resolved that the correspondence from Bruce Highcamp Geocamp Limited, the Grafton monitoring wells and the BTEX detection update, March 2022 sampling be received and filed, and further that the report be forwarded to the Council of the Township of A&H. Can I have a mover, please? John, seconded by Mike. Bruce, do you want to make any comments on that document you supplied?
Well, I kind of touched base on it when I was given the update of my budgets. Hang on a second. It's cold down here. let's see. So basically, we've the March 2022 BTEX results were non-detect on everything, even tetrachloroethylene. That's it, the dry cleaning solvent, which was detected in December. We did not see that again. So I think that's a step in the right direction. And hopefully we get June, September, and December are low, and then we can put this all behind us. I still don't know what the cause of the toluene is, but it's been 13 samples over 2 years. We've seen this toluene, and this is the first non-detect. So that's good news. That's basically about it. So the next sampling event is in June. And I touched base on this earlier too. Even if we get a detection in June, September, December, but they're relatively low, I'm gonna recommend just annual samples for 2023.
Good
Okay,
news.
Bruce, there was 13 samples in a row for the BTEX. How many were there for the trichlorine, whatever was it just the one in December for
We
the
did
dry
the one
cleaning
in
stuff?
December, yeah.
Okay.
Did the one in December. And you can see on that graph, like I mentioned that December you got this one peak there. Well, at the tail end of it, and it was pretty high, the toluene concentration. Again, these are such low levels that we're plotting up here. It looks like it's exaggerated, but they're really low concentrations too, but they're detectable. And out of 13 samples, we kept getting a detection all the time. It was repeatable. We changed the sampling method. We changed labs. We tried a few different things, and we always detected it. But the last sample, non-detect.
Okay, Mike, you had a question? Sorry.
No, just a comment that I think our detection bill should slide back into a regular scale next year with the good news from Bruce. So our costs, our operating costs on that line should reduce significantly, which is good news for our committee.
Yes, that's good. And we're presenting that to council tomorrow, Bruce, too. I believe it's on the agenda, so that'll be good news.
Okay, good.
Okay, is there any other further questions from anybody about the monitoring well report? Seeing none, all in favor? Passed. Okay, now it'll be Adam up on top. It be it resolved that the correspondence from Larry, how do you pronounce Larry's last name? Saprika?
I try not to, but it's Spurka.
Oh, is
Spurka.
it? Oh, okay, Spurka. Okay.
Okay, so Larry Spurka, Lucy Grafton Drinking Water System Report. Operations report, reporting period February to March be received and filed, and further that the report be forwarded to the council of the township of A&H. Go ahead, Adam. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Going to fill in for Larry a little bit here. He seems to be on vacation lots lately. The two major points that we really are looking at here, in terms of capital work, certainly, is we've completed the raw water repair. That raw water line that had pitting and some leakage, that was a capital project going forward that had been delayed by COVID. We've had Lakeland Multi-Trade in. They've completed the work. It looks fantastic. There was a brief interruption with utilization of the fire pump while we had it down. We also did the cleaning of that chamber while it was down, and now it's back up and it looks lovely. The other thing that I'm seeing here, we do have some of our flushing and stuff planned to go forward in the first 2 weeks of May, and do some valve exercising as well. That's the meat where we're headed.
Okay, good. Is there any questions for Adam regarding the report? Seeing none. All in favor? Passed. So that's on the agenda, I believe, tomorrow too, Yolanda, for council. I think it is.
I don't believe it's that one. It was the previous one. I believe that's on council's.
Okay. Okay, is John back on now?
John is on, he can hear us, but he can't speak, so I don't think he's going to be presenting his notice of motion today, not unless he can transfer over to a different device.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like he's been able to do that.
Okay, well, we'll just push it forward to the next meeting.
Yeah, we can make it the next meeting because he's gonna have to be able to speak on it for sure. New business for future discussions. Is there anybody that has anything under new business?
Sorry, if I could just get a motion to the effect that we're deferring the notice of motion to the next meeting, that would be great.
Okay, could I have a mover? Mike, a seconder? You okay with that, John? Good. That we defer John's notice of motion to the June meeting, just due to technical difficulties. Not that we didn't want to hear it, John. Okay, all in favor? Passed, okay. New business for future discussions. Does anybody have anything to bring up under new business?
I have a question.
Sure, John.
There was supposed to be a couple new members joining the committee, and I hadn't heard a status on that. We thought we had two joining a couple meetings ago. I'm just wondering where we're at today.
Troy, would you like to make a comment on that, or do you want me to? Troy's there. Yeah, I thought you were going to, or I can comment. It's up to you.
Go ahead, keep going.
That was brought up, John, to council's, by concerned citizen. It was brought up to council that the two members have not attended yet. I believe the procedural bylaw states that if you miss 3 months, and in our case, it would be 6 months because it would be 3 meetings, right? That they would be notified that they wouldn't be on the committee. So I believe the third meeting that they're missing, and correct me if I'm wrong, either Troy or Yolanda, is today.
That's
So
correct.
with the two members that were on there, and I don't even know their names, I can't remember, they'll probably be receiving, will they get a letter from us or something, Troy, now saying that they've missed their 3 meetings and their name will be taken off the committee? Is that correct? Or?
That is correct. We'll be notifying them, so.
Now, John, we do have a name that's come forward that will probably be discussed by council. I don't even know their names. I can't remember. They'll probably be receiving, will they get?
Looks like John found a way on.
Are you on, John? We can't hear you.
No, I've muted him just because we were getting a lot of feedback from some of the other.
So to answer John, basically those two members, because they haven't attended, will be removed. We do have a name that is coming up to council, and hopefully we can add that.
You think so?
Are you on, John? We can't hear you.
No, I've muted him just because we were getting a lot of feedback from some of the other.
So to answer,
John, if you could mute whatever device you have in the background, because we can
How's
hear
that?
ourselves repeated.
How's that?
better, we
Sounds
don't
okay.
hear ourselves talking the second time.
No good yet?
Yes, that actually does sound better.
Well, it sounds anyways.
So John, did that answer your question?
You're on mute, John.
Yes, yes. Thanks.
It's a little disappointing, but we're hopeful that we'll have another member on by the next meeting. I believe the next one's in June. And then we don't meet for the summer, right? Do we meet again, Yolanda, in September?
Our next meeting is June, and then after that will be September, yes.
Okay. So there'll be a few more meetings, and then it'll be new council, I guess, for the one, I'm not sure what date that is exactly, but we'll go from there. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us again. The budget that we had there, we just received and filed it. there was no real questions because it was kind of early. But you present in the June one, you give us an update of how the budget's doing, right?
Absolutely, I can do that.
And give members time to look at it, and when the numbers are more solid with the expenses and that, maybe there'll be some questions for you. So thank you. Everybody's having trouble with connecting today. Okay, so why don't I did have something to bring up under future discuss or new business, and then maybe since John's on, we can go back. There was a report to council from the senior planner, Jennifer Current, on February 24th. And it talked about, she wanted us to have a discussion with the Grafton Water Committee for a water modeling to confirm the water system capacity of Grafton. And the reason for this is there's a gentleman that's coming to council next Thursday at the planning meeting, and he's looking at expanding the existing settlement boundary area. So before any of that happens, and I know me and Mike have talked that there already is 3, possibly 4 future developments coming for more houses in that in Grafton, that the planner wanted us to talk to Lucy, and this was probably with you, Adam and Larry, how you can get this information is we're looking at what is the capacity of the system that we have. We want to make sure before we start going too forward and having a bunch of plans okayed for it and that we find out that we don't have the capacity for it. So I'm wondering if Lucy could come back at the next meeting with Adam with some numbers and that for us of what currently we're at and what the capacity is for the system. And I'm not sure what a water modeling is, if that's exactly what I'm asking. Is it?
So as in terms of rated capacity, as far as the plant, those are numbers that I can give you a percentage. It actually comes out in our reports, just what percentage of the rated capacity for the plant we're using. In terms of water modeling, that's a little more complex. That's something we actually have SEMA do for us. They have a water model that essentially materials, condition, etc., and looks at usage throughout the system, and then does a model of the hydrodynamics of your system to decide where development is, what impact future development will have on flows within your system, and what your capacity on any given distribution arm would look like.
Okay, so that's something that, do you know roughly what that costs? Is that
in Coburg,
Yeah,
that model runs
I'll give you a call.
around, I ballpark $25,000 a year, I think. Yeah. Then again, we're looking at a town the size of Coburg. So I can make some inquiries with our friends at SEMA if that's something you'd like me to do, and get back to you with a ballpark on what that entails.
Yeah, just as long as it's not costing us anything now. It's just
Sure.
that's come from the senior planner, and that was her exact words. When I'm in at council tomorrow, I will talk to her and just find out exactly whether we would have to go that far. But I believe we have lots of capacity in the system, but I think that has to officially come from you. And I don't know the water modeling. I'll ask her if that's actually necessary, that we'd have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars for something that maybe that's not quite what she's looking at. I don't know.
Hey, Greg?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh, you can hear me. Well, that's good. Just a couple quick comments. I think historically, Lucy has reported that we are running about 20 to 25% of the capabilities of the water and the pumping system. However, probably this more sophisticated stuff depends on the lines and where the lines go, and that's how you determine how much you can actually hold. I don't know that for sure, but I expect that's how it works.
You're nodding, Adam. So that's basically,
yes.
So it's a little bit more involved than just what our capacity is for.
For instance, if most of your development occurs off a 6-inch line to the south or to the east, that's going to be a bottleneck. And then you have to look at expansion to make a line size larger for that particular development. Yeah, it really, and it involves fire flows for the community as well. So it's more than just a simple back of a notebook calculation, that we get engineers involved in that, because I'm not up to it, certainly.
Yeah. And
Okay,
also,
Mike.
I think there's not only that one that you've mentioned, Greg, but there's another 3 that they're already in the plans to go ahead before you even expand the hamlet's size.
Yeah. And that's something, Mike, we'll have to discuss at council, right? That we want to make sure we're not getting ahead of ourselves, that money is probably going to have to be spent in the future if we're going to continue to allow development, to make sure that you're not building houses and these people are not going to get adequate water supply. Okay, thank you, Adam. If you can come back with some numbers for us in June, and then whatever you can just supply with us numbers wise, just from Lucy about capacity or stuff like that, that would be great. Okay. Now that John's on, why don't we go back then to the notice of motion? If everybody's okay with that, we'll go back to the notice of motion, which was number 7. And John, do you read that out, or?
Can we do that?
I'm sorry, Councillor Booth, because
Yeah.
we deferred the notice of motion, we're gonna have to make another motion to bring it forward. So that John actually has made this notice of motion. So he has moved it. We will need a seconder before we can put it on the floor for debate.
So first we need a motion just to bring it back because we deferred it.
Well, that's basically what we are doing. So John has made the motion to put that notice of motion on the floor. So that's fine. We can start off that way. We just need a seconder.
Yeah, I'll second
Okay.
that.
Okay, so Michael seconded it. The notice of motion, and Yolanda, does he read it out? Do I read it out or what?
Why don't you read it out?
Okay, got my glasses on. In accordance with section 1311, notice of motion of the Grafton of A&H procedure bylaw, the Grafton Communal Water Committee member, John Logal, hereby files a notice of motion to be included on the agenda for the Grafton Communal Water Committee, which is scheduled to be held on Wednesday, April 20th. The notice of motion reads as follows. Notice of motion, customer goodwill. Whereas the Township of A&H owns and operates a municipal water system, and whereas the water system supplies potable water to businesses and residents in the hamlet of Grafton, and whereas water customers pay a monthly flat fee plus a consumption fee, let me just move it up. And whereas malfunctioning equipment on the customer property may cause an exorbitant consumption of water that is not intended and ends up being waste, and whereas in past situations there was not procedure to handle such an event, therefore be it resolved that staff investigate and prepare an amendment to the bylaw or policy such that upon proof of malfunction, some of the costs may be credited to the customer.
So Greg, basically what that is we had about 3 years ago, a customer that during the winter left her toilet, she had a toilet that malfunctioned, and the water continued to run for 3 months. And so she got a bill, an exorbitant amount of money to pay for, and she kind of refused, and the person was well known in the community, da-da-da-da-da, so I think they ended up not charging her for nothing like that. And it kind of, there's nothing real clear, but I happened to be listening to a council meeting, I believe it was in Brighton, and they put a policy in there stating that should that happen, if the person brings them a bill from a qualified plumber saying, yes, it was broke, this is what he did to fix it, then they give them half the price of the cost. So rather than leave it like there's nothing there at all, I think there should be something put in the bylaw that states if that should happen, this is the procedure, and then that gets away from all the different ways of it could be done.
Mike, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. John, I think that what Brighton did was handle it on a one-off basis, which is what we would do. I don't really want to open Pandora's box because my experience is that somebody will figure a way to abuse it. So I would be more than happy to listen to the concern of the constituent at council and do make the decision as we did and as you stated, in council on a one-to-one basis. That way, people won't be tempted to manipulate the system. And with a bylaw, they can point to the bylaw and say, you owe me. And I think council's common sense is good. So
Okay.
that would be my take on that one.
Could I just ask Adam if they have such a thing in Coburg?
In Coburg, we don't have such a thing that I know of.
Okay.
We generally view that water, even if it's wasted, it's still produced and it's viewed as revenue.
Yep.
So as a result, we are very careful to make sure that we're keeping track of that, certainly. And we do with the new style meters. We have leak detection that's already on them, so it generally doesn't go 3 months or 4 months. The latest Neptune technology sends leak detection warnings directly out to the customer.
Yeah.
Troy, you have a question?
Yeah, before the committee commits to anything, maybe I'll reach out, or I can, if the committee is willing, I'll reach out and speak with Brighton just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And, we don't want to commit to something and because we misinterpreted what maybe Brighton is doing. So maybe I'll get some information and bring it back to the June meeting and we can discuss then. I just don't want to, commit to too much here today without really knowing, what Brighton has done. That's just my thought, but.
I agree with you 100%. That's not really, I think it's a staff that should look at it and find out what's the best way to do it and then make a recommendation.
But let staff do some research and neighboring communities and go from there.
Yeah.
Adam, I do have a question for you. So the Neptune meters, is that what the Grafton residents have? Is that type of meter that has a leak detection on it?
You know what? To be truthful, I'm not familiar with what the metering technology is out there, just because most of your stuff is so new. All of the stuff I've seen that's gone in is Neptune and they're the newest RF meters. I think they all are, but I can't tell you 100% to be honest.
So
I
maybe
believe
if that
that
could
we
be,
do have RF meters.
so if that could be part of the investigation to Troy to come back to, because that's very important. If it's already got leak detection and everything like that, then that's gonna be an issue. Any comments, John, for you, John Robeck, for that, or are you okay with that the way it is? What's your feelings on it?
I'm okay with that. I think we should do the research. And I kind of think Mike has a point. Let's not put in something that's automatic. It has to be determined case by case.
So this example, John, that you brought up, it was a few years ago, or that, did the person end up paying or no, or what ended up happening with that? Did they end up coming to council? Is that where it ends up being the final say, or is it with Lucy?
I believe, and I'm going back 2 or 3 years ago, I believe that it come up at strictly at the water meeting. And Larry, I believe Larry or the person before him had suggested kind of what Adam is saying. Don't matter how much water that they waste, that's their responsibility, not anybody else. And I think the CAO got involved with it and decided that the person was a nice person and we would just take the average of the last his normal water usage and bill them for that. And the water committee or the water group took the loss.
Wow. Okay.
That's the best of my recollection.
Well, if we can have Troy have his staff, and Adam, you can look into it, and you guys are all the experts, bring back all the information to us. So what would we do with that, Yolanda? Then are we, because it said that therefore it be resolved, the staff investigate and prepare an amendment to the bylaw. Could we adjust that, John, to just say that therefore it be resolved that the staff investigate and
report back to
report back to
committee.
the water committee in the June
Yep.
meeting? Is
Yep.
that enough time, Troy and Adam, for you guys to do some research on it? Are you okay with that, John, then?
Yes, absolutely.
And Mike, you seconded it. Are you okay with that to change it? Okay. Okay, so any other comments on that notice of motion? Being none, all in favor? Okay, we're good. John, was there anything you wanted to bring up under new business? We're under new business for future discussion.
Yeah, just I wanted to thank Yolanda for sending out the water study that was completed in 2021. I thought it was very thoroughly done, and I was happy to see that the Water Rates Council changed the water rates to bring in more revenue. It also, from reading from there, the best I could understand was that there was a new well was suggested to replace well number 1, and that was to be done in 2021. And then a debenture was supposed to start in 2022. And to the best of my recollection, there's nothing been done on that.
Well, I
Am
can
right on
comment. I can comment a little bit, and then maybe Troy can or Mike. We did have a consultant, John, fill out some the grants for us and fill out all the paperwork with the help of Bruce and Larry and them. We applied for a government grant. I think it was 2 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it wasn't accepted then. And then I believe there was another grant that came up, and we've applied for that one and just waiting to hear. We were hoping to have the federal government and the provincial government chip in, because we were looking at something like $1.8 million, John, or something, right?
Yep.
So it's not that we've not done anything about it, is we're trying to get financial help. So it's not something that is like an emergency where, if that it's going to fail or whatever, and then we're in dire straits, but we are still looking at it. So hopefully we'll have some good news from some of the political parties in the future at some time that they'll accept one of our grants. I don't know, Mike or Troy, if you want to make a comment.
No, I've received some literature, and I expect announcement probably in the next as close as 2 weeks. So
Before the election.
when I hear, I'll let the committee know.
Okay, thank you, Troy. The one other comment that I had was that on page 14 of that proposal or recommendation, they mentioned the water main and lateral lines. And the cost to them was going to be $10.5 million to put those in. But I couldn't see where it mentioned that in any of the future costs. Because they had said over the next, from I believe it was 2022 to 2069, there was going to be $10 million or $8 million spent, but it did not include anything for the main lines, the water mains and the laterals. And they were put in, I don't know, maybe you want to comment on that, Adam. They were put in 2019, or pardon me, 1990s, and they don't last forever. So I would expect that they're going to have to be replaced someday.
I can speak to that. Certainly, we do see conditions, certainly other materials, where they're degrading a lot quicker in the ground. Ductile iron, we're seeing cast out there that's lasting 50, 60 years, et cetera. The expectation for plastic that I'm seeing is still an estimation, because we're looking at anywhere between a 75 and 100-year lifespan.
Oh.
So from what I gather, I won't live to see the replacement of mains in Grafton. So people are making estimates still because PVC just hasn't been in the ground that long.
Go ahead, Troy.
And a lot of that, your concerns, John, will be noted in our asset management plan.
Okay.
We've been working on that quite a bit. The draft copy has been provided to staff reviewing it right now. But our updated asset management plan will answer a lot of those questions, and we will have a plan in place. So.
Good. Thank you.
Anything else, John?
Nope. Oh, I just
John,
got one other thing.
Yes.
I do apologize. I can show you my 4 pieces of equipment that I've been trying to run and was unable to connect till I tried the very last one.
Oh,
So I
don't worry.
apologize, but I'll have that straightened around for June meeting.
We are so used to in the last 2 years of people cutting in and out and disappearing and everything. We all thought it would be me up here in the center, but not this time. Go ahead, Troy.
Just one more thing, and I don't know if it's the right time, but I want to jump back to the budget. Is the committee comfortable or all right if Nicole brings that to council? I just wanted to make sure that we're good that it goes to council.
I'm okay with it. John and John, are you both okay with that going to council too? Is that on tomorrow's agenda, Troy?
I believe so.
I didn't see that.
Oh, maybe it's not tomorrow's council. Maybe it'd be the next one. So
I just one comment, Troy. The on line 4,500, the 2022 budget was predicting a 15% increase for the residential customers. And it looked like it was fairly level for the last 2 or 3 years until you see 2022. And it's up about $40,000 from other years. So there's probably a reason for it, but I just was curious.
Maybe Nicole can answer that.
So any of the revenue line items on the budget are straight from the water study. So if you look at, I believe it was option 1 that council approved. And if you go to the financials within that option in the water study, that should balance to the exact same amounts.
Okay, that makes sense.
I hope that answers your
Thank
question.
you.
And John, you missed it, but maybe you heard it. There was a question asked by John about the other committee personnel not coming. So they've now missed the official 3 meetings. So they're going to be notified, and council is hopefully looking at adding a potential member. So that will be discussed in the future. Okay, if there's nothing else under new business, our next meeting is on June 22nd at 3 o'clock. And I guess we're still doing via Zoom, Yolanda?
Yeah, it sounds to me like we're still going to be doing it by Zoom. I haven't heard any different yet. Now, sorry, can I just go back to where you wanted to place the, what was it? The 2022 draft water budget for council's review?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you want me to add that to the motion that was made? Because we just received and filed it, but I can add that it also go to council for their review.
Sure. Who moved that? Was it John or Mike?
I think it was me.
Are you okay with that, Mike, to present it to council too?
Yeah.
And John, you're okay with that? John R? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if everybody's good for June 22nd at 3 o'clock via Zoom, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Hopefully Larry has a nice holiday and comes back from Costa Rica or wherever he is.
Easy now, easy.
And hopefully Bruce has good news from us when he takes the other test results, come back. Oh, we won't have them yet is the next one in June, Bruce?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, we won't have it by the 22nd then, would we, or no?
I'll make a point to sample it early in June then. I'll put it on my calendar And
Unless it's bad news, then you don't have to tell
yeah,
us.
then I'll just
Wait till
ignore it.
September. Okay, thank you, everybody. Can I have somebody move for adjournment?
I'll move.
John Logofer and John R. seconds it. All in favor? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.
Have a nice
Take
weekend.
care.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.